Hi, this is The Greatest Story Ever Played. I'm Dan.
I'm Jordan.
And today we're going to be talking about Emily is Away, Heart, or 3, depending on how you say it.
Yeah. 3. I go 3.
You go 3? All right,
yeah.
Nice. I like it. And before we get into that, I have just 2 quick announcements we wanted to hit up before diving in. The first one being, thank you, Tyler, for becoming a supporter on Patreon.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a bunch. That's awesome. Love to see it.
Yeah, for real. Love to see it. Really appreciate the support. So if you'd like to be like Tyler and support us on Patreon, you can do that at patreon.com/TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed. For as little as $1 per month, that will get you access to a monthly bonus episode we do that are topical in nature. So we've done things like our favorite openings in video games recently, or we talked about The Mandalorian Season 1, or our favorite Life is Strange episodes, and we rank them, that kind of stuff. So if that interests you, go check that out. But yep, thanks again, Tyler, for the support.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. Do you have that written down, that like little blurb about Patreon? Because I feel like you just nail it every time.
No,
Okay.
It's off the dome. So sometimes the same episodes come up because I don't always remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that was our first announcement. Second one is just kind of a PSA, is that we'd gotten a review key for this game, and I felt like it was just worth acknowledging to be transparent. This, of course, was a game we were going to play anyway, and we're excited to play. We played the last 2 last year on the podcast, and have been eagerly anticipating this one. But, thank you, Kyle, for the review key. We appreciate that. That was cool.
Yes,
but
definitely.
Yeah, just wanted to acknowledge that and throw that out there, I guess.
Yeah. Luckily for us, we're not biased at all because this game is really good, so it's great.
Right, yeah. I would be saying the exact same things either way.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, sweet. I can hit the description for us. We got Emily Heart or Emily 3 is a brand new story set on an old new social media. Customize your Facenook profile, send some friend requests, and determine the outcome of your senior year.
Awesome. And then production, this is developed by Kyle Seeley. He did Emily is Away and Emily is Away 2. If you'd like to listen to those, we have old episodes on them last year, like I mentioned. Awesome games as well, for sure.
Yep.
Because this is a brand new game, it came out a few days ago, we're doing a brief non-spoiler section. So if you've come here, you've never listened to the podcast, you've never played this game, anything like that, we want to just give brief thoughts about the game itself, what we think, and then we'll go into our kind of full-blown recap with, all the spoilers and all of that stuff. So, but since it's new, we did want to give a little shot to tell you what we thought about it without jumping in full if you haven't played it yet.
Yep.
I guess my couple things for this. One is that the game is around 4 hours, maybe 4 to 5, and so this is far bigger than the previous 2. I think the first one's like 30 or 40 minutes, and then Emily's Away 2 is, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half-ish, 2 hours on the high end.
Yeah, that seems right.
Yeah, so this is I would say a rather big growth. This game they've just gotten bigger. And I think, too, it follows the sequence of good improvements. So Emily is Away itself was an awesome game, and then when you got to Emily is Away 2, you added things like YouTube videos, talking to another person, stuff like that. And this one just boosts that even more, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is absolutely my favorite Emily is Away game. I think for reasons you mentioned, the additions of like more chats, like it's called Facenook here, I assume for copyright reasons, but it's very very similar to Facebook. Like it's really well done, and I think like the first 2, it's just so well written. The lingo, the dialogue, how I would have typed on Facebook Messenger is how the characters interact on Facenook Messenger. So it's just, man, I don't know how, like, this guy must have some training in writing, because I just feel like he nails the writing. Like, it's crazy. Like, literally almost word for word there's things I would have said, which is maybe kind of embarrassing for me, but also pretty cool.
It really is. It gives you that, like, I don't know, time capsule feel of like what was popular at the time, and you experience it through music, through how people are talking, what they talk like, all of that, the music they like, all of that. It's crazy. It really feels like it. Like it feels a little bit like you time travel back for a brief time to to go back there almost, like, which is awesome. Super on point.
Yeah, I wonder if Kyle, it'd be interesting, Kyle, if you end up listening to this, did you go back and like look through your old Facebook messages to like just steal the conversation stuff or like how you would have typed? Because I feel like I didn't remember this is how I talked until I was reading it, and I was like, oh man, facepalm, like this is literally me in high school. It just sucks.
Yeah, that's a good question. That would make a lot of sense to be able to just be like, all right, what was I talking like back then? I'll go see it, and then it's like, okay, yeah, this is pretty pretty real.
Yeah, so real.
It was awesome. Also, a thing I saw Kyle Seeley post that I thought was cool was someone was asking him, like, is this a continuation of the previous game or something like that? And he was like, no, think of it kind of like American Horror Story, where on that TV show you have the same actors in a lot of the seasons, but it's just different stories within them, different roles, different timeline, that kind of stuff. And I thought that was cool as a way. So it's like these characters are familiar in a sense, but really you're at a blank slate with all of them, when you begin the game and all of that. And I like that because I like the blank slate, but I like the familiarity with them. So coming in, I was like, okay, Evelyn, she's a punk. I like that. Emily, she's into indie stuff. I like that too. All right, how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to approach this? And, knowing them, but didn't have, what happened last time with them.
Yeah, and then you got some other characters like Travis and whatever. I thought that was cool. I was wondering, it didn't seem like a continuation when you play it, but it's like, oh, these names they're the same or they're familiar. So that's a great that's a great comparison to American Horror Story. That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was super on point. I liked that he said that. I was like, oh, it like clicked into place. I was like, that's perfect. I really like that. That's about all the non-spoiler thoughts I have.
Yeah, I had, one more thing, I guess. Like, generally speaking, if you enjoyed the first two games, you will probably love this. So I guess I just would recommend picking it up. It's well worth it. And yeah, I think, there's multiple endings too, so I think there's some replayability too, which is awesome. But yeah, that's generally what I got without getting too spoilery.
Cool. No, awesome. Yeah, fully agree. If you like those games, I highly recommend playing them. If somehow you've never played any of these games, I would go play them all. The first one's free. I think the second one's like $2 or $3, $5 maybe on the high end. It's pretty cheap. And then this one's 10. So it's like you could have a lot of enjoyable nostalgia for not a lot of money if you want to go down that route. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that cuts off that section. We're going to move into our kind of full-blown recap, go through our stories, how it happened, all of that. So lots and lots of spoilers are coming your way. So, yeah, jump off here for sure if you don't want them. I guess with that, we will jump in. So the game begins, and you log into your Facebook during 2020, and it sucks, like Facebook does now.
Yep.
Like there's like your political uncle, like someone trying to like get you in their like pyramid scheme, like other like garbage that Facebook is now.
That's so accurate. Oh man,
it was great. It was like a minute, and you're like, yeah, this is like the garbage that Facebook has become. But you notice that your anniversary of signing up is that day. You like clicked your timeline and you saw that, and you click on it, and then it gives you the flashback to when you first got your Facebook, and that's where our story takes place. You got your Facebook in the summer of 2008, and it's right before senior year. So you're at the end of summer, right before senior year, and so it's kind of got all of the things with that, kind of dreading the last day of school or the start of school. College is coming up. Senioritis is getting ready probably to set in already for some.
Yeah, before it even started.
Before it even started, all of that is there. And you create a Facebook profile because AIM is dead. AOL is gone. No one uses it anymore. I guess this is what people are doing, so I will use Facebook. And you sign in, and your friend Matt messages you to show you the ropes and is like, oh my gosh, you're finally on here. I never thought you'd leave AOL.
Like, shut up, Matt.
Yeah, right. He's just like, yeah, wants to help you. He's like, oh, you got to get pictures. We got to get you friends. We got to do this. You got to solve an argument for me and my girlfriend, Kelly. Is this song good? And he sends you a 303 song.
Yeah, what'd you say there? Did you say it was good or bad?
I said it wasn't terrible, and then he said, my girlfriend thinks it's the worst thing she's ever heard, and I was like, well, it's not the best, and he's like, but it's not the worst.
That's great.
Yeah, what did you say?
I think I was like, yeah, 303 is awesome. I don't actually like 303 at all, but it seemed fitting for the time. I don't know.
No, yeah, that's awesome. I liked listening to the song then. I hadn't heard it in so long. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, God, it's so shameful.
Oh, yeah, it's like fun and shameful and shitty and good at the same time. It's all of that for sure.
Yeah.
It's great. So through this, you get tagged in some pictures by Kelly, Matt's girlfriend, and there's a picture of you, Matt, Kelly, Emily, and Evelyn. You were all once close friends. It was a picture from Matt's birthday, I think last year or something. Emily and Evelyn have since had a falling out. And so their friendship group is kind of weird that you've jumped into. Seemingly the three of you, Matt, Kelly, and you, have all been friends, and you've also each been friends with Emily and Evelyn, but it's sort of a trying to choose both or choosing one here and then the other one next time sort of thing.
Yeah. Awkward, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely awkward. And Matt reminds you that you have a big decision to make today, which is, what are we going to do tonight? Are we going to the last party of the summer by going to a barbecue at Emily's, or are we going to a rowdy party at Evelyn's? You've got to decide. And you're like, what? I don't know. I didn't even know this was happening. And Matt was like, well, you do now, and you have to decide.
Yeah, there's no way around it.
And at this point, Emily and Evelyn also recognize that you've created a Facebook. So they both friend request you and message you, and you get to talk with each of them for a little bit.
Yep. You can kind of pick their brains on like, oh, what's your party going to be like? You can look at the Facenook event and see who's going, who's maybe attending, like what's posted on the wall, stuff like that. Just like you would in a normal, Facebook event back in the day when people still used it for that.
Right, yeah, that's true. To kind of scope the event out, so... And yeah, and what it will be like, what's going on. You get to talk to them each about school upcoming. You don't have class with either of them. What else is going on? You talk about music some. They'd send you playlist. This is a cool new feature of before you'd get sent like a playlist with like, I don't know, 4 or 5 songs they like on Emily Is Away Too. Mm-hmm. This one instead, each of them have 2 playlists that each have 5 songs, and they each like different kinds of music. So Evelyn likes punk music, and she also likes rap music. And so she'll have a playlist each month with 5 songs of each of those kind of thing. And then Emily likes indie music, and she also likes electronic music. And so you can get playlists of those from them too. And early on, it's like a way that you can bond with them. You're like, oh man, I like this kind of music. That'd be so fun. Let's go to the mosh pit. Or with Evelyn, that was the thing she wanted. Or Emily was, you could talk about playing Mario Kart and like set up a time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. Basically, you're kind of get to know them, reintroduce yourself into these characters. But all in all, this culminates in your decision. The first big one you have to make in the game, which is whose party will you go to? For me, I chose to go to Emily's barbecue. What about you?
Yeah, that same. And as far as why, I think I'm just more into like indie stuff and video games than I am into like punk and crazy parties. So like the barbecue, I would have actually probably gone there in high school, So I was like, I'm gonna go with that. And Emily's name is in the game, so I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go with the canon choice, I guess. Maybe not. Don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I chose Emily. I think I played it with how it would have been in high school. I was like, senior year, I wasn't going to parties or anything like that. Like, I think if this was like college, I would have gone to Evelyn's, but because it's...
Yeah, you would have for sure.
Yeah.
Punk music.
But because it was high school, I was like, I didn't go to any parties back then. So I tried to play how I was at that age kind of thing. I was surprised to choose Emily, though, because I chose Evelyn in the last game. So I thought I would choose her again. But instead it was Emily. Also, 53% of people also chose to go to Emily's. 47 went to Evelyn's Rager. And this is something that's cool in this. I can't remember if it was in the previous games or not, but you have sort of a stat line that goes through. You can see it at the full end of the game, but also like chapter by chapter, it'll tell you like you and blank percentage of people did this thing or that thing, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really cool. I don't think that was in the previous games. Willing to be wrong there, but it's also worth noting that we played this so early from the release date that like the stats might totally change in like a week or two or a month, like.
That's true.
So who knows? I mean, I wonder if it'll stay around 50-50 for this decision, but the grand scheme of things, that the percentages will definitely change.
Yeah, that's a good point. I imagine that, as more and more people play, the stats will just kind of move around a bit.
Yeah.
We got some feedback from people online about what they did. So, Meagle on Twitter said, I went to Emily's, love me a bonfire. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Same. Justin on Twitter said, Emily, how can you pass up s'mores? Haha. I agree. I that was like my main talking point whenever I was talking about the parties. Like, oh yeah, dude, s'mores? Fuck yeah, I'm down. So, which I'm not actually that excited about s'mores, but I like that I could pretend to be. So that was great.
Right. No, yeah. That's great. It's like, all right, I guess I'll go if there's s'mores.
Yeah.
Althea on Reddit said, I went to Evelyn's party.
Fictional on Reddit said, I went to Emily's party.
Captain Chrono on Reddit said, went to Eve's party. So Evelyn again.
Juzo Core on Reddit said, I went to Evelyn's party.
Z3 on Reddit said, I went to Evelyn's party.
And finally, Night Studios on Reddit said, also went to Evelyn's party. So, seems, what is that, like 6-4? 6-3?
Yeah, something like that.
5-3. So, it's somewhat close to 50-50.
Yeah. A little more Evelyn leaning than we were, but still cool nonetheless. Good to see what people chose. So you choose whichever party you go to, and the game fast forwards, and you pick up in the fall of your senior year. And it begins with Matt chatting you again to start. And he tells you that he thinks that Emily likes you.
And, this would have been Evelyn, I assume, if you went to her party. Just to throw that out there.
Yeah, it is, if you go. I did a second playthrough and did Evelyn stuff and went that way, so I'll talk about that maybe near the end or something, but it does happen. Cool. If you play as Evelyn, same thing goes. So he has a picture of you at the bonfire, and Emily's like leaning on you, or everyone's like, "Ooh, you got game, dude." And you're just like, yeah. Shut up, dude. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah. Stop trying to blow up my spot.
Yeah. It's so much back then. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
But he talks to you, and you sort of are like, all right. I mean, Matt's a doofus, but maybe he's right. And there's also an upcoming Halloween party at Matt's house. So this is big, because now you won't have to choose between Emily and Evelyn again. Instead, there's going to be a party where potentially both of them are. Him and Kelly seem to be doing well. She's trying to go to photography school. You talk about their relationship a little bit, and all in all, seems good. Matt's cool. Overall good, I would say.
Yep, it seems like no consequences of choosing Evelyn or Emily. Things are going great. It's all good.
Yep. From here, after this, Emily chats you, and you've grown closer to her. You can tell that you guys kind of like each other, but haven't said it yet, sort of thing. And you fill out a survey note, which also throwback. It's like a note on Facebook that's like 20 questions or whatever. This one might have been 10, but it's different things. Do you have a nickname? What do you think's most important? Good friends, one best friend, or a relationship? Do you cuss?
It was so accurate to stupid notes that were back in the day on Facebook. And there's always that question about like, do you like someone mentioned in the note? It's just every time. And again, that question was there, which it's funny.
Yeah, it's super. Super on point. And so she fills it out, and she asks you to fill yours out, and so you're like, okay. She has to leave, and you kind of work on it while she's gone. Then Evelyn messages you and says, hey, like, I was excited we'd be friends, and then you skipped my party, and I feel bad. And I thought we were close, and you're like, ugh, this doesn't feel good, and it's a little awkward.
Yep, uncomfortable. So your first kind of consequence of choosing something. Not the worst, but it's not great.
No, yeah, not great. I felt like I did when I said no to her party, I said maybe, and then I said yes to Emily's, because that's how I would have Facebooked back then. Is maybe means
that's what I did too.
Maybe means I might go, but it means I also might not.
Yeah, that's what maybe means. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
But she was like, "You said yes, and you didn't come," and I was like, "Well, kinda. I mean, but
I didn't commit."
Yeah, but I felt bad for it. But
yeah, I did the same thing.
When I did the other playthrough, though, I said no to Emily's when I went to Evelyn's, and Emily's still mad even though you say no. So
you're just screwed either way.
Yeah, someone's mad at you either way, or like disappointed. So yeah, unfortunately, disappointed. Also in this, Evelyn lets you know that Matt's been hitting on her and it's weird. Right? That's in the same conversation.
Yes, that did happen.
Yeah, she's like, hey, you're close with Matt, but it's been weird. He's like really flirty with me and it's uncomfortable. And I just sort of played neutral. I asked questions to kind of hear about it, to see like what the deal was.
Yeah, I did the same thing. It's like, I'm trying to understand you, but like, Matt, he's Matt.
He's extra.
Yeah, definitely tried to like not be like, oh, whoa, that's so crazy. He's definitely doing that. Yeah, definitely trying to stay neutral, because it seems like the best option most times.
Yeah, that was something from the previous games. 2 things I really tried to do in this game is, 1, don't lie to anyone, either on purpose or an accident. Don't lie, because last time that fucked me so hard. And then the other one was, don't say things about people that you wouldn't say to them, which is it's different than lying, but I don't know, could be sort of similar.
Yeah, don't be two-faced. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to say fuck Matt to Evelyn and then be like, what's up, Matt? You're so cool. So I was like, I'll just hear this out and we'll see what happens.
Yep, exactly how I played. I think we probably played this game pretty similarly, which is unfortunate. So, as we'll see.
Yeah. So after this, it's sort of awkward and you're like, okay, thanks for the info. Like, I'll watch for this myself, I guess, sort of thing. Evelyn leaves, Emily comes back, and you talk about her and Evelyn falling out. And you can give her some advice here, which can basically be like, well, Evelyn's lost, she's dumb. Or you can be like, well, like, just because you weren't friends for a while, like, you could still reconcile. Basically what happened was that Evelyn got, like, a shitty boyfriend who...
Fucking Travis, dude. Motherfucking Travis. Yeah.
That dude sucks. And he was controlling, and Emily's trying to, like, be like, Evelyn, like, you should be careful. This guy's questionable. Evelyn ultimately, like, gets offended and is like, no, I'm not going to do this. And one of them says it's me or them.
Yeah, the person not dating. So in our playthrough, was Emily was like, ultimatum, either you break up with him and be friends with me, or we're not friends. Just like, not a great option, but
yeah, not a good move. So they have not talked anymore. Evelyn has since broke up with Travis because she also recognized he was a tool, but things are sort of weird and distant between them now, and they write on each other's walls of music that they used to listen to together, but they won't talk.
Yeah.
So it's
weird.
Yeah, sort of like a weird, like, I kind of want to be friends, but I can't initiate with you sort of deal. So I gave her advice to, like, reach out and be like, you should reach out, and, like, if she doesn't want to respond, like, that's okay, you did your part, and, like, you were reasonable, and, it's okay to say sorry, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So that's what I'd said. Yeah,
that's the same route I went. And this is kind of like the decision, I think, at the end of this chapter, whatever, is, do you encourage Emily in our playthrough again to reconcile, or just say, sorry, I tried, I'm done. So yeah, I think we both pushed her to try to reconcile.
Yep. Which, that was good. Also, you talk about your note, and it's like, oh, you like someone in the note. Who could it be? And you end up making it Facebook official. You decide that you're officially dating, and you're both really excited about it.
Yep. So it seems like things are going in a really good direction.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty positive here. I was like, oh, yeah. Because the previous two were much more disastrous for me. So I had
yeah, so quickly, too.
Yeah. Things got out of hand fairly quick for me on the other one. So this one, I was like, all right, fuck yeah, things are going my way. So, also, this is super inside baseball, but so I played the first chapter. I played Summer. I played this over 3 days. So I played Summer day 1, and I played it, and I was like, cool, I'm really excited to play this game. Like, I love it. I'm already in, you know? So then I played Fall, and I played Winter next. So we'll jump into Winter, and then I'll tell you more about my experience. So Winter begins, and Emily chats you right away, and dating's going, like, super well. You two are, like, super into each other. Your relationship's, I don't know, going well, super smooth, enjoying time together, blah, 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 blah. Really good. She really likes you. You really like her. It's all good kind of thing. Unfortunately, things aren't going great in your friend group, though. Matt and Kelly broke up a day or two ago. Matt's just, like, wrecked. He's devastated. He's super sad. And Kelly ends up messaging you to check on Matt, kind of thing. And it's like, hey, could you, like, check on him? Like, he's just not... he doesn't seem to be doing well. I don't know what's going on. He hasn't been online. And she ends up telling you that Matt has another Facebook profile. He, I guess to, like, move on, he decided he wanted to leave the old one behind and make a new one. So
Classic, yep.
Yeah, so his new profile is Matthew instead of Matt.
So different.
When you talk to Kelly, you're like, you know, I can talk to Matt, that's fine, but, like, what happened with you guys? It seemed like everything was, like, good, and now it's not. And Kelly's like, oh, you know, over time we became different people. We wanted different stuff, so we figured, you know, why not it be over, basically? And you're like, okay, cool. And, you know, part of me when I was asking her about that is like, okay, was Evelyn right or anything, you know?
Yeah, yep.
Was Matt, like, hitting on people or something, and, like, or cheating on her or something weird? And it wasn't that. And then you end up messaging Matt on the new profile, and he tells you basically the same thing of, yeah, we broke up, she said we became different people, things sort of just changed, and, you know, I don't really feel like anything changed, and maybe she just did, I don't know, so I feel pretty bad, basically.
Yeah, pretty rough. I mean, he's pretty blindsided by it. It was rough.
Yeah, it was. You felt bad for him. Also, in this, there's, like, a part where you can, like, tell him what Evelyn said, which...
Did you do that?
I didn't tell him, but I accidentally said something that kind of made the conversation come up. And so I said something kind of like, you know, just be careful. And he was like, oh no, I got broken up with and everyone thinks I'm a creep. Like, everyone must hate me kind of thing. And so then we, like, riff for a little bit because it's right after Christmas, and he's like, he's like, Santa fucking hates me.
Yeah.
He hates me more than Bin Laden. And, like,
yeah, that's what I said too. That was really funny.
Yeah, that was great. I was like, this is, like, totally captures fucking, you know, riffing back then.
Yeah, this like just exactly the same way it played out with me. Yeah, definitely didn't mean to bring up things with Evelyn, but I think you might almost be forced to. I'm not sure if there's any way around it. I don't remember. I'll probably go back through and play it differently, but yeah, he was pretty bummed.
He's bummed, and he asked if you could, like, do something that night. And before this, he'd been talking about, like, a big date with Emily, like, it's her birthday date, right? Her birthday's coming up, and so you're doing, like, a pre-birthday date that's, like, a big deal, and
yes,
are excited about it. And I was like, oh, I already have, like, plans with Emily, but, you know, we'll hang out soon. I really want to be there for you, kind of thing. And he seemed cool with it. Like, I felt bad, but I still went on the date with Emily because I was like, I don't know. We already had this planned. It wasn't like... And for something important. I guess if it was a rando date, maybe it'd be easier, but like skipping the birthday date seemed like that was kind of a big ask.
Yeah. Yeah, that same thing for me. In hindsight, I wish I would have hung out with Matt. It seemed like the better move in hindsight. But yeah, I think I did the same thing. And again, this is the decision, I guess, of this chapter is like, yeah, do you cancel on Emily to hang out with Matt because he needs a friend, or do you not cancel on Emily and just tell Matt you're sorry? Yeah, so I don't know what changes if you do the other thing, but yeah, I kind of wish I had.
Yeah, I think I wish I had to in retrospect, but I was certainly caught up in love or whatever here, so I was like in it for sure. And I was like, well, I'll see you tomorrow, Matt.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Chin up.
Yeah, you'll be good. Yeah, you'll be good. Okay, so before we transition to the next section, so then my second day playing, I played Fall and Winter. So I was feeling pretty good, after playing these 2 chapters, like, man, like, Emily and I, this is really working. I'm playing this game right. Like, man, getting through the rest of senior year, this is going to be fun. This is going to be awesome. Things are going well for me. I'm finally going to have one of these games go well.
Psych.
Yeah. Psych is unfortunately coming. But I was feeling good. And so the next day, like, when I was getting ready to play, like, through the day, I was like, man, this is going to be great. Things have been going well. Like, I'm going to have this keep going. And unfortunately, the last day was not what the one That's what I was hoping for. So, spring. Fast forward again, and it's spring. And you talk with Emily, and you make plans for prom. Yeah, you make plans for prom, and you can choose to either go to prom or not go to prom, and like kind of come up with something.
Yeah. What did you go?
Yeah, I did prom. I figured that's what Emily wanted.
I said I was going to go with her, and then we talked more, and she was like, I don't really care. And I was like, let's skip. And she was all about skipping too.
Oh, nice.
So I ended up, and I did that more for Matt because he wanted to skip. So I was kind of like throwing my dude Matt a bone.
Okay. That's cool. That's awesome. So then, after kind of making plans with Emily, Matt messages you, and he says that Emily's been flirting with Jeff.
Fucking Jeff. From her class. From her English class. And he's like, you gotta creep on these wall posts. Have you been seeing him? And you're not friends with Jeff, so you can't see what Jeff says. But you can see Emily's ones, or his responses on Emily's wall. They're disgusting.
Yeah.
They're so terrible.
And you're just like, I mean, this dude's a douche, is what it that's how I felt. I was like, this doesn't mean anything is bad, but I don't like it either, is how I kind of felt.
Yep, same. I was like, well, I trust her. He seems like a tool, but it takes 2 to tango, so I kind of try to not dismiss it, but be like, man, you're being kind of crazy. It's fine.
Same. That's what I tried to do and kind of hoped it would be over, but it wasn't. Matt, like, pushes it and is like, dude, here's my Facebook login. Like, log into my other account and we can, like, creep on him together, basically.
Yep.
And so you do that. You log into Matt's other Facebook. And so Matt's on one of his Facebooks and you're on his other one. And you're creeping on the profile entirely. And messaging each other as the Matts, which was kind of funny.
It's pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah. His password's like 303 forever or something.
Yep.
And you're doing your Facebook wall creeping, and you're like, yeah, this doesn't look great. Like, there's things like Emily's like, oh, here's this playlist I made for you. I hope you like it, and things like that. And you're like, I mean, I don't love this. It's not great. But, I didn't go full on in. Like, Matt's like, oh, you should message him. And I was like,
yeah.
No, I don't want to do that.
I kind of wish, so I didn't do either. I kind of wish I had, just to get more gameplay out of it. That would have been interesting. Yeah.
I guess we'll finish this chapter. I'll tell you what I did on my other playthrough after.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, log in. Decide not to do it. Message him. ultimately like sign back out and get back onto my account. And Emily messages you and is like, hey, it's weird that Matt and Matt became friends on Facebook. What's with that? And you're like, well, we were doing some Facebook creeping. And let her know that Matt, like, was worried about Jeff and you and thought it was weird. And so we decided to creep on it and, like, it seems a little suspect. And she gets kind of defensive, or she got pretty defensive, actually. And I didn't press it too hard and was kind of like, I trust you, but like I felt like I should ask about this, basically.
Yeah, it's the route I went to. In hindsight, wish I would have been like, no more Jeff, you're done. But alas, I was trying to be amicable and reasonable.
Yep, that was my thought too, is I'm going to be reasonable here. So, okay, now I'll tell you what I did in the other playthrough. So, I was dating Evelyn at this time, all of that stuff. And instead her Jeff is a guy named Steve, who...
God, dude, what the fuck, Steve?
Yeah, fucking Steve. And instead, though, when Matt had me do that, I was like, all right, yeah, I'm going to message this douchebag. And Matt was like, oh, wait, I was kidding. Too late. And so I just went with like the most aggressive thing I could every time. So I was just like, fuck you, you piece of shit. Stay away from her. Like, all being kind of crazy. And he's like, oh, but she like deserves someone better than you. I'm better. And I was just like, fuck you, bro. Like, and just cussed at him a bunch. And then he like blocked me or something.
Nice.
And so then I log in and to my account and talk with Evelyn. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, fuck that guy. Fuck Steve. That guy sucks. And I like stay aggressive with her too, like about him, not towards her, but
yeah.
towards Steve. I'm like, fuck that guy. And so I ultimately do like it's either him or me kind of thing. And she's like, you did not just do that. And then I respond, so he's going away? And she says, no, you're going away. And then breaks up with
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, right then?
Yeah, right then. So you get broken up in this chapter if you go like full insane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you continue that playthrough?
I did. I continued the playthrough and went like full sad boy. Which I guess I'll recount once we do summer.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear about how that goes. Because I was thinking about replaying and doing the same thing, but it sounds like it's not any better.
It sounds like there are good endings you can get, but I have not gotten them.
Okay.
So, okay. Summer's here. School's over. We graduated like a couple days ago. And you chat with Matt, and he lets you know that him and Anna are casually seeing each other. It's sort of we're like dating for right now, but college is coming, and, we'll kind of figure it out. We don't want to put labels on it. It's kind of nice. And you're like, yeah, I can kind of see that. Like, if you're dating right before college, I could see not trying to have the same relationship you had with Kelly before. You're like, all right, I kind of get it. And then, after talking with Matt, Emily messages you. And she lets you know that things aren't the same. And that she thinks a break would be a good idea. At this point, I'm asking questions. I'm like, what the hell? I did the right thing. I didn't, like, be a jerk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean you want to break? Like, come on. Like, things have been great. What do you mean? And she's like, I mean, I still like you, but, like, it's not how it was. And you're like, duh, we've been dating for, like, a year. Of course it's different. But she's not really having it. And after a while, it basically is like, she doesn't want to work on this relationship to, like, keep it going. It's still trying to do the break thing. And I was like, well, let's just break up. Like, I don't want to deal with break bullshit. That's stupid. I'm not going to, like, be waiting for you while you want to, like, date other people for a little bit or something. Like, I'm out kind of thing. And so we just break up for real. And something that you say with Emily through the game, early on, she lets you know, we don't say goodbye. Don't say bye, say later kind of thing. Like, no goodbyes. And you break up with her and she's like, all right, bye, Dan. And I'm like, bye, fuck you.
Dagger. Yeah,
bye. I was like, are you kidding me? Break up. Sucks. You're big sad. And then Matt messages you and consoles you and is a good friend. Ultimate bro. He, like, checks in on you. He is really friendly to you and is basically like, she's unreasonable. He shares his his real breakup playlist. So when Kelly broke up with him in the past, he like sent you a playlist like Bad Day by Daniel Powder and stuff, and you just make fun of him for it.
Yeah.
But then he sends you one this time, and it's like a bunch of Lonely Island and like shit like that, which was fun.
Yeah. A bunch of really fucked up rap songs. It's great.
Yeah, super silly. And he's like, all right, I'll come over and play video games with you. Like, you're my guy, kind of thing.
Yeah, and so he like cancels his plans with Anna and does that. I was like, man, fuck, I should have done that for you.
Yeah.
Back in the day. That's why I regretted doing that.
Same. He like drops it right away and is like in. And then after that, for me, Evelyn hits me up and says, hey, I'm going to a party this weekend. Do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then the game ends with like the party seemingly gone well. So I was like, okay, like maybe college character is gonna do all right. Maybe he'll date Evelyn down the line.
Yeah, that's how it happened with me. So we get like the exact same playthrough. Yeah, unfortunately.
That's crazy. I'm really surprised that happened.
I think we just do things similarly. Like we're both not like crazy aggressive. We're not gonna like totally be passive. We both played a lot of these kind of games. We in theory know how to get the good endings, but apparently we don't. So
no, we know how to get broken up to start summer.
Yep. Sweet. Well, fucking Jeff is out there just macking on our girl. Yeah, not cool.
Yeah, not cool. Fuck that guy.
Hate Jeff.
Yeah, hate Jeff. Hate Jeff, and I hate Steve. They both suck.
What happens? What happens in your other playthrough where you went full on aggressive?
Okay, so full aggressive playthrough with Evelyn, breakup. So breakup in the spring, and summer starts, you chat with Matt like you did, and then he lets you know, he's like, hey, would you want to talk to Evelyn? Like, I've been talking to her, she'd be willing to talk if you want to. And I was basically like, no, I don't really want to. And he's like, well, maybe you should see anyway. I was like, fine, whatever. And she talks to you, and is like, you know, I don't really even talk to Steve anymore, but like, I wish we didn't break up, like, I miss you, sort of thing. Would you be willing to be friends again? Blah, blah, blah. And I just went full, like, no route. I was like,
yep.
No. I'm, like, bitter. I went, like, bitter playthrough there and say no and all of that. And then what happens is Matt and everyone goes to a party and I don't go. I'm just alone.
Oh, God.
So then I did it again because I was like, all right, I was doing, like, full bad. So then I did reconcile. You know, because she was like, do you know how it was, like, wrong that you did an ultimatum and stuff like that? And on my jerk playthrough, I was like, no, it wasn't wrong. You were wrong. Like, you know, being obnoxious. But for, like, reconcile playthrough, I was like, because you can redo certain chapters, too. You can redo chapters, so this one was easy to go back. But I was like, yeah, I was wrong, blah, blah, blah. And I think we all end up at Matt's party later together, but it's not, like, it's still awkward seeming, but maybe moving towards being friends again someday. Basically.
Gotcha.
So, not great. Either way. I mean, that one was bad, but that one was more bad on purpose.
Yeah, man, how do you get the good ending? I'm gonna for sure go back and play it until I get it. Very, very curious.
We've got a bunch of other people's endings, so we can go through these, and then I'll tell you what I heard, and we can see. I've heard maybe how you can get a good ending, but...
Cool.
Okay, let's see. Justin on Twitter says, a not-so-happy Emily ending, which seems pretty fitting for this series, haha. So, yeah. I'm guessing they got a pretty similar spot to us.
Yep. Bummer. Cobber on Twitter said, my Emily wanted a break. I did not want a break, so we broke up. I played video games with my buddy Matt. I like this ending. It's not so much a quote-unquote good ending or bad ending, so much as it is a quote-unquote life ending. Be good to your homies, people. You might get to play video games with them. Same ending we got. And I guess I agree. It's like, definitely not the ending I wanted, but it's cool. Like, Matt's a good dude, and we're friends still. I liked that.
I like that too. I felt like upon hitting that ending, I was like, oh man, I had my head up my ass with Emily, and like Matt's been a good friend the whole time, and I should have been equally loyal to them instead of like overly loyal to Emily, or, you know, putting her the highest or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
You know, him being a good dude and, like, all of that. He was that way the whole time, kind of thing. Which I thought was cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Exotic on Twitter said, me and Evelyn stayed together. I guess I got a happy ending.
What? I want that.
Yeah, I know. That was awesome.
Yeah. Lucky you. All right. Z3 on Reddit said, we did argue and eventually Evelyn decided to dump Steve. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so seemingly another good one.
Wow, okay.
Right, I know. Althea on Reddit said, in my ending, Evelyn wanted a break, but I asked if it was about Steve. We had a fight, and we broke up. Fuck Steve.
Yep, fuck Steve.
Fuck Steve.
Same as our ending, but with Evelyn. Cool. Juzakor on Reddit said, ended on a break with Evelyn that turned into a breakup because we fought about Steve. Fuck Steve.
Fuck Steve.
So sounds like, yep, Steve sucks in everyone's playthrough.
Night Studio on Reddit said, ended up not pressuring Evelyn about Steve, and she told me she wanted a break. At least it was an amicable breakup. Still had Matt as my friend, though. So, it seems like maybe a better feeling about maybe some of the stuff we got, which is cool.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Is it Captain Chrono?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Sorry, I got lost sidetracked, whatever. Cool. Captain Chrono on Reddit said, trusted Eve that there was nothing with Steve. There was something with Steve. Also took a redo and stepped in with Steve because I knew I had to know. In short, pain. Just pure pain. Don't be such a dick bagel, Eve. I forgot about that. Yeah, when you after you break up, you talk to Matt and he's got all these choice words for them, and dick bagel is one of them. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's great. He's like, oh, I have some choice words for her, and you're like, what are they? And he just says stupid, obscene things like that.
Yeah.
You're like, my guy.
Great.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, and then last one. This is a longer one from Fictional on Reddit, but I thought this was worthwhile, so I went for it. So put it all down. So first, totally trusted Emily about Jeff. Never even brought him up in conversation. Ditched the prom for a party at home. Agreed with her to go on a break at the end of the game, and apparently never heard from Emily again.
Oh, God.
So I guess instead of like ours where you actually break up, you say, okay, we'll go on a break, and then she just never hits you up. That's fucked.
That's worse.
I much prefer mine or ours.
Yep. Yeah. I'd rather fight at least.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or just like call it what it is. It's like, yeah. Ugh. I would be so mad. So they continue and they say, that ending felt sad, so I decided to try Evelyn's party. So much of the dialogue seemed similar that I ended up just assuming it was a cosmetic difference, so I made different choices. Confronted her about Steve after Matt brought up the messages, pushed it a bit too far until she got upset that I was trying to make her give up her friends, so I backed off. I took her to prom, and then in the final chapter I'd noticed that she had a totally different dynamic with Steve than Emily had with Jeff. She ended up saying she helped him through his problems, but he was still being clingy, so she was avoiding him. That game ended with my character going out with Evelyn and them redeclaring their love for each other and commitment to making things work.
Ah, okay. So that's how you get the good ending.
Yeah, so what I read online somewhere, maybe it was a Kyle Seeley post. Someone went and asked him, like, can you get a good ending? What the hell? Because everyone was getting bad ones or something. And it sounds like you... Oh, I forgot to... Or I wrote this down somewhere. There's 5 main endings, and I guess there's sort of 14 sub-endings within them. So I'm guessing that your endings are a good ending with one of them, 2 breakup endings, 1 for each, and then 2 breaks for each. That's my guess of what the endings are. Because it sounds like the first girl that you go for, there's not a good ending. It can't work out well. But if you go backwards and you go to the other party, you can have a good ending with that person if you play it right.
Wait. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So no matter what, the first person you choose?
Yeah, I think you can have a good ending.
Oh, what?
I think so.
That sucks.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Because it's still so new, like, not all the information is online, but that's what it sounds like.
Okay.
So, with that being the case, sometime I might go back through and do an Evelyn playthrough first so I can get a good Emily ending. I might do that someday.
Cheater.
Because I want a good ending.
Yeah, me too.
Or I guess, really, if I could just watch a good ending, that might even be good enough.
Yeah, I'll just pretend like it was mine.
Yeah, just to enjoy it. And I'm like, all right, yeah, that's how it would have gone for me, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that is everyone's endings, and that is the game. So from here, we'll move into general thoughts just about the game at large. One thing is, it really felt like when I joined Facebook so much back then, like people writing on each other's walls, like that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah. As far as I guess I don't have a Facebook anymore. I deleted it, but last year I think, or maybe the year before. But I remember it not really being that way. It seemed like it was mostly just statuses almost. But writing on each other's walls, that there was like, messaging each other, but it felt different than like the previous two games with AIM, right? The ones with AIM, you felt like you had that pressure to like write back right away. And this one, it didn't feel that way, which was more like how it was with Facebook. You didn't feel that. Instead, you could have like ongoing conversations, but they weren't time sensitive in the way that AIM felt.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, this also really felt like when I first joined Facebook, because I actually got one the same time. Like it was my junior year summer, and I got a Facebook. It was very similar. Like where I was at a friend's house, we set it up a profile. It was really lame, but yeah, that's how it went.
That's awesome. This was the first time for me where I was actually older than the characters. I graduated high school in 2007 summer or spring, and so these characters were like a year older than me, or I was a year older than them, so they were having their senior year while I was going through, I think, my first year of college or whatever. But it still felt very reminiscent of what it was like getting on Facebook back then, because I got a Facebook probably like the fall of my senior year of high school or something like that. And back then you had to get invited on. So my friend who had an invite invited me on, because it used to be like college and invite only or something. And a guy I knew who went to another school had one, because I assume someone in his grades, like older brother who was in college, had one or something. But I remember him like sending me one, and I like set it up, but I was kind of like, I don't know, I like MySpace better still.
Yeah, but dude, I forgot about that. That was like right before Facebook. It's funny there was no shout out to MySpace.
I wonder if Kyle Seeley if he skipped that, if he went straight from AIM to Facebook, because mine was like AIM/AIM, then AIM/MySpace, then MySpace/Facebook to just Facebook, like kind of switch. But yeah, but it really felt like that, and I thought that was cool. That was nice. Like like the first Emily is Away game, they go through like college and they have AIM, but like AIM was when I was in like middle school and the first half of high school, so it was pretty different, like experientially wise in that way.
Same.
So this one, it felt like most matched up with my life, which was pretty fun.
Yeah, and this one literally matched up perfectly with the timeline, at least.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I also liked all the additions we've mentioned before, like the playlists and the pictures and different profiles. You can like creep on different people, look at like the info page, whatever, people's walls. That was really cool. I think it just added a layer of story and depth to the characters that wasn't necessarily missing from the past games, but like added to this game, which I really liked.
Yeah, I like that too. A thing I wrote down in the same vein was great music again. So the playlist they'd go through, Emily had her indie playlist. This had things like Snow Patrol, Matt and Kim. This was definitely my favorite playlist of all of them. I listened to probably all of Emily's indie playlist and have a lot of those songs on a playlist myself now. They're good.
Nice.
Emily's electronic playlist, this was probably my least favorite of them. It was a lot of electronic stuff I don't listen to, and a lot of like MGMT remixes of other songs, which it was fine, but that's not really my music. Evelyn had a punk playlist. This had like Census Fail, Brand New, some other stuff.
Brand New, dude. That's your favorite.
Yeah, I like Brand New, so I was about that. But that playlist was oddly hit and miss for me. I like some of the music on it, and others of it isn't stuff I listen to. I think if she would have had more that I was into, then maybe I would have went after her in the beginning instead of Emily. But Emily's like first playlist, I liked all of those songs, so I followed that way. But Evelyn's rap playlist was very good and was a lot of the rap music I listened to back then, like Kid Cudi, Kanye West, like a lot of that stuff. Her playlist for rap music was pretty good. And then Matt's playlist had like 303, Metro Station, Lonely Island. He had a bunch of silly music of the time, for sure. So his were fun.
That fit him, though. Yeah, definitely fit him.
Oh, 100%. His music totally matched him, for sure.
And again, we kind of mentioned this too, but like just the going back and replaying it and trying to do different things, it's so desirable with this. I'm definitely going to go back and try to get the ending that I want to get. And I'm still pretty bummed that I didn't get the good ending the first time.
Oh, me too. I was so bummed because I went from like feeling really high after, day 2 of playing, had just both good relationship stuff, and I was like, man, this is going awesome. I'm so excited to play again. And then I like finished playing, and I was just sad. Me
too.
I actually sad as a person. Like I was like, I feel like I got broke up with for real.
Yeah.
And I felt sad, and I then I had to like go get our dinner, so I went and like drove somewhere to pick it up. Then I just put on some of the music from this game and drove, and I was just sad.
Oh my god.
It was also, this game ends with a fantastic song with Good Friend by LCD Sound System. That song's fucking fire. That song's so good. But just being like, oh man, like I was like sad probably for a little while after that, and I know it's like, it's fine, whatever. But I was surprised how much of a punch that packed, because like I was totally in. Like Kyle Seeley totally tricked me. I was like,
yep, same.
I was like full on in. I was like, this is gonna go well, and then it's like, cool, I did it right. I didn't like confront Jeff. I didn't push too hard there. And I was like, no, you get broken up with anyway.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. Like, man, I could go back through and fix it. I could be more aggressive and do different things. But yeah, it doesn't sound like that might not help, unfortunately. So I think just like Kyle, the developer, like just these games are just really fun. This one was just really well done. The fact that you could take a game that it's got more visuals this time because you got the profiles and all that stuff, but it's mostly just text based. So, you're just reading and writing things, but it's so engrossing. It sucked me in, and I want to replay it 6 more times to get all the endings, just to see how it works and see how it feels.
Yeah, totally. I want to go through and like hit up stuff I missed, or like do things differently. Like I think both times I played, I still encouraged them both to be friends with each other. But I wonder if your ending would be different if you didn't do that, or if you answered certain questions in the quiz differently, or I don't know, different stuff like that. But I'm like, I want to fuck with it and try to figure out where else it can take me, kind of thing. Which is great, super on point. Last thing I have to say for this is that this is my favorite game I've played this year so far. Super into it. I really enjoyed my time playing it. Like you said, like, knocked it out of the park. This is great. And and just seeing the growth of these games too. I'm so glad we played the previous 2 last year, and just like seeing them continue to grow. I'm like, if there's ever like an Emily is Way 4, I have no idea what it would be, but I just know it will be great. Like,
yeah, I was thinking about that. Some kind of like, I don't know, Instagram maybe, where you like DM people. I don't know. That's all I could think of.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure either.
Tinder.
Yeah, maybe. I could see that. But yeah, it's totally great. I had a really good time with this game, and we'll recommend it to lots of people, I'm sure. Like, if anyone who likes these kinds of games, like, they should really play it. It's so good.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Cool. That's all I've got. Do you have anything else?
Nope. Well, I'm sure I do, but I can't think of it. So that's people should go play it. That's just go play it. It's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, last up, we'll hit up a little bit of listener feedback then. So Chard on Twitter says, it's nice to see an indie game sequels can be successful. I think that will help make indie devs more sustainable. I think that's true. It is nice a sequel being well received. Like, seems like on Twitter, everyone was pretty excited about this game that I saw, like, and people like reviewing it well and all that stuff. So that is cool. I'd like to see indie devs succeed for sure. And, you know, if it's a game that could or should have a sequel, like, I'd love to see more of that.
Yeah, 100% agree. Sub1 on Reddit said, "You forgot to mention fuck Steve," in all caps. So, again, more hatred for the Steve, which is warranted. And then he said, "But overall, the narrative was fun and the writing was great. Made me feel like I was in my senior year of high school again." I agree.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. Briss on Reddit said, "Absolutely fuck Steve." But I have to say that Matt is a true bro. The video game night proposal at the end left me teary-eyed. Yeah, my guy. Matt's cool.
Yeah.
Showing up.
Dude, he's the man. He's the guy. For sure. Pixel Gamer on Reddit said, "I honestly liked how we had more interaction with other characters. And even though I basically got a middle finger in the end, I enjoyed that this time. Whichever girl you choose has the potential to do the player wrong for a change." Which is cool. Yeah, I guess in the previous one you just had to pick right, maybe.
Yeah, because I guess in the last one, because last time you had a good ending in Emily's Away too. I did, yeah. But I didn't, because I accidentally lied to them, and then they met each other, and then they were both like, "All right, fuck you, we're out." So then I was just sad by myself. But you were able to play your relationship right and just stay with Emily, right? Last time.
Yeah.
Last up is Jusukor on Reddit, who said, "So far, I've only gotten one ending, but I really love the game, going for 100% completion. In my opinion, it's a very large improvement for the first two, which are both good, don't get me wrong." Yeah, I agree. I think that, like, sums that up pretty well. It's that it's a huge improvement from the old ones, and it's not saying anything negative about the old ones. The old ones are good, and this one is just, like, elevated to another sphere kind of thing. Like, last year when we played them, Emily is Away 2 was, like, on the verge of my favorite games we played last year. It was, like, just on the edge. And, you know, for me, this one's sitting as my favorite game this year, and, like, I think it's going to have a hard time getting knocked out of my, like, couple favorites. Like, if we do a 3 favorites at the end like we do, I have a hard time seeing this not be there. Like, just the continued improvements and being already a good game and just fleshing it out even more. Like, super happy with this game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. This will probably end up in my top 3, top 5 easily. And yeah, like I said, I'd play another one if Kyle makes another game. I'll play it. Don't care what it is.
Totally, yeah. Kyle definitely has a stamp of buying from me for sure. If he makes more Emily games, I would certainly play those. But if he just made something else, I'd totally play that too. Like, I'm in. These games have all been great, and this one is a home run. So yeah, totally be into more.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Cool. That's what I've got. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Nope.
All right. Perfect. Cool. Well, that is Emily is Away 3, or Emily is Away Heart, depending how you say it. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do that on Twitter at StoryEverPod. Our website's TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed.com. That's got a backlog of all of our episodes, including the 2 previous on the Emily series. If you'd like to rate and review the podcast, you could do that at Apple Podcast or Podchaser or wherever you get your podcast. We'd super appreciate that, just being able to get the show in front of more people who we can share these games that we all enjoy together. That would be awesome. If you'd like to go to our Patreon, that's patreon.com/TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed, like we talked about off top. We'd super appreciate that. And yeah, that is the game, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Dick Bagel.